All right, good morning. My name is Miss Katie and we are at the King's Art Center, and right now we're going to do an art lesson geared towards 7th and 8th grade. So in this lesson, we'll be making a Zentangle snail. So if you've heard of Zentangle before, basically it's a great way to relax with very detailed abstract patterns. So we'll make a snail drawing first, and we'll be able to decorate our snail with these really cool patterns. It's one that you guys can get really into and spend lots of time just having fun with these designs. All our materials are for this project are 2 pieces of regular office paper or any thicker paper you might have. Anything will work. We have an eraser, we have a pencil, and we will need a Sharpie. So our first step is to draw our snail on our paper. Our snails are really simple shapes. Their shells are a big circle with a spiral, and their bodies are sort of these organic, gelatinous shapes, so we'll have fun with that. So sort of off-center, we'll do our big snail shell. It should be pretty big, enough to cover the whole paper, and enough to where you'll have room to fill it with patterns. If you want to use a large circular object that you might have at your house to start out with, that's a great idea, maybe a small bowl or plate. Also, you can do it really loose and freehand too, whatever works. So you'll do his body with kind of a loose oval on one side of the shell. And his body comes down below the shell too with those feet, I guess. I'm not sure if they're feet. So as you can see, I'm making lots of lines really lightly, kind of going over my shapes until they feel like they're the way I want them. Then I start drawing a little darker with my pencil. I'm going to erase all these extra lines in a minute, so it's really good to feel it out as you go, because you can always erase. Now, snails have those cool little antennas with their eyes on the end of them. So have fun with that. They can be really tall, they can be really short. Give them little eyelids if you want, and eyelashes. All right, so I've got my snail shell drawn. Now it's time to erase those extra lines so that we just have a nice clean outline of our drawing. So now we're going to use our other piece of paper and come up with a bunch of different patterns. This is where the Zentangle part comes in. So we're going to give ourselves 4 little sketch cubes, not too big, about the same size. And spend 5 or 10 minutes just coming up with different patterns. These can be lines, they can be swirls, they can be a bunch of circles. Look around the room you're in and see if you see any cool patterns that you might want to copy for your snail shell. So this is a good brainstorming section of the lesson. All right, so once you've got a couple different patterns, you can go back to your snail and we'll start on the real thing. When thinking of patterns, think about all your geometric shapes that you know really well. You know circles, you know squares, triangles, wavy lines, curvy lines, all of those things. And remember that it's a great combination of repetition with variation. So you want to repeat some basic things, but you can always change it up in there as well. All right, so on our snail shell, to start out, we're going to give them some random lines. I'm going to kind of divide it as I go with just kind of like slices of a pizza or sections of a bicycle wheel. We're just going to divide it up. And now we get to go in and add all of our patterns in this snail shell. As we build it up, it'll start to look like this really amazing, intricate snail shell, but we know that it's filled up with just these patterns that we created. So keeping your reference of those patterns you came up with visible, go ahead and add these patterns into the whole snail shell. You can even do these on the body of the snail if you want. Totally optional, or you can add other details to it. So we can do this whole step in Sharpie. Get a Sharpie that has a really nice fine point to it that works pretty well. And we'll go ahead and outline our snail. And then add all of our patterns. So when I'm outlining, I can kind of treat it like a pencil where I'm doing small sections at a time. It's really hard to do just one continuous line without your hand bumping or getting moved at all. So take it slow and do section by section, whatever you're most comfortable with, but don't feel like you have to do it perfectly in one go. Is that what you meant? So we filled our whole snail shell with these cool patterns. I erased my extra pencil lines, and now I'm done. So you can do this project in lots of different ways. If you have different colored pens, that would be really fun. You can go back with paint and color the whole thing in. Really, there's endless ways to do it. And it's a great project to do if you want some just quiet time, listen to some music, and zone out making all these patterns. It's a lot of fun. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.